Buenos
Good
dias.
morning.
All right. Buenos dias.
Good to see you. Good to see you guys.
Nice. Padre, where are you driving to this morning?
I'm headed to Okeechobee.
What's there?
My cartoonist lives there.
Hmm.
So we're going to spend a day designing cartoons tomorrow.
Nice.
But that's probably not what anyone was expecting to hear. But
Yeah. It's always an adventure for sure.
That is in fact what's happening.
I'm probably the only one who was not surprised by that.
I got to go to Okeechobee and do some cartooning.
Yep. My cartoonist, as everyone has a cartoonist.
Your list of hobbies, John, is never ending, it sounds like.
That's true. That's true. I like doing new things. By the way, Brandon, I had James vote on my podcast 2 days ago, and he can't wait to talk to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I told him about you, and he's like, "Oh man," he goes, "Y'all might you're about the same age. You might know each other." So anyway, I highly recommend you talk to him. He's he's made it into the business world successfully. Got out.
Break it up just a little bit.
Padre, you're going in and out.
He said he's even hiring people. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead,
no,
Jack. You take over.
You're good. Yeah, you're coming to a dead zone. Says you have a low signal.
Brandon, I'm just saying that James may have a job for you.
That's absolutely wonderful to hear, John. I really appreciate you pitching me out there like that. That's awesome. Really appreciate it.
Okay. You got it.
So when I first moved back to Greenville, I knew James, met James, post-service, obviously. But then we bought a house, and I said, "Hey man, we're moving into a house." He said, "Congrats! Like, where are you moving?" I said, Selwyn. He goes, "What number?" So James is on the same street as me. We just happened to buy a house on the same street as James, like totally randomly. So now we're neighbors. It's awesome. Small world.
Small world.
Yep. I'm like one of 5 veterans that I know about on our like short block. It's wild. Well, cool. Well, welcome back, Brandon. I think everybody else was here. Troy and Colton and Steven was all here yesterday. So Colton, you want to give Brandon just a quick rundown of what we worked on yesterday? Shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the transition out is going to be hard regardless. You kind of have to turn over a new leaf, whereas like you got to talk to these people and socially interact with them. Basically, it's going to be a whole new life, and it's not going to come quick. Like Jack was saying, he's 5 years out, and it's still hard for him to sometimes, connect with people because like us as veterans, we have those stories that we want to tell. But if I want to go tell random Joe Schmo down the road, he won't understand because he was never in the service, so he can't relate to anything. And try to find like your local vet sources, I guess you could say, to try and to kind of talk to them. I forgot like the names of them, but they were on Jack's mind map. And like also mind map kind of, were you there yesterday afternoon?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, well, yesterday afternoon we actually did it with Brenna too. But Coggle.it, they have a mind mapping thing where you can go in and kind of put everything that in your life that you need to do and just take it out of your head, so that way you're not thinking about 100 different things at a time.
Good. That's a good recap, Colton. It was really a pretty squishy day. We didn't have like a set curriculum because the group was so small. So we did kind of a Q&A, talk to individuals about where they were in their journey versus where they were when we started, mindset wise, narrowing in on that ideal landing spot, whether it's the company or the geographic location or the work-life balance, figuring all that stuff out. And it sounds like everybody's made progress, right? Everyone's getting closer, feeling more confident. Everyone's got reps that I've talked to. Everyone's is talking to companies and doing interviews and, scheduling meetings and stuff like that, which is the behavior that, produces success and results. So that was good. And Brandon, I gather that you're doing the same thing, that you're reaching out to folks, you're talking, you're having kind of informational interviews and stuff. That good? That true?
Yeah, it's true. At least for me though, it's kind of complicating things. Let's just say IT sales, and it was only IT sales I could concentrate on. I can prepare for just that interview. But probably like most in this room, there's the distractors of, oh, hey, there's this really high paying explosive safety job over here. You should go check it out.
Yeah.
And so, then you get away from that. I'm in the 418 group right now, acting as the information security officer in their internship. And so, okay, by the way, I've got to figure out what the hell that role's about.
Yeah.
So I could actually function. And yeah, I'm just sure we're all dealing with that. I'm sure you did, Jack.
Yeah.
And I have not done that mind mapping yet, but as we speak here, I'm totally starting to write this stuff out.
The mind map thing is transformational, and I'm not like a one for hyperbole, but it really did. Like when I first got out, I came back to Greenville. Literally, it was just like in a conference room by myself. Like I got too many things whizzing through my brain to really focus on anything, and it was like weeks of kind of just like spinning my wheels. And I was like, someone said, "Have you ever tried mind mapping? I'd be happy to like walk you through it." So they sat down in the room, just said, "Hey, okay, put your name on the whiteboard, draw a circle around it, and then just start whatever comes to mind. Whatever the first thing that you think of when you think of Jack is, okay, Clemson MBA, and then business and family, and get a house, and like health care, get your VA disability stuff all squared away." It was like all these different like disparate buckets that we have going through our brain. All of them were in flux, right? None of them were finite, right? Like my job in flux, right? Health in flux, house in flux, all these things, all these parts of our identity are changing kind of at the same time. So it's a great time to do a mind map. It's like everything's like you're working with metal. When it's hot, you can get it to be malleable. Nothing's cold and firm. So you can, now's the time to grab control and actually, start driving. So, and what you said earlier about being kind of ready for different interviews and talking to different people for different roles and kind of having a different, that's hard. Again, back to the identity thing, right? When your identity is malleable, you can be anything to anybody, right? You can be a explosive safety expert for one company. You can be a IT salesperson to another company. You could be a fucking, a front office analyst for the Texas Range, for the Rangers or whatever. I mean, there's like, you still have you're like your tree for identities is diverging, and you kind of got to pick a road. I'm still there, and I've got a company that I run that's got a pretty tight description of what we do, but I will find myself, depending on who I'm talking to, describing us differently, right? So if I'm talking to a big room of like networking people, for example, I want to put a broad net out there. So I say we're business technology brokers, right? Anything in the business technology space, phone, internet, cloud services, firewall, security services, like we can do all that stuff, and it all kind of falls under security one way or another. So, I'm still playing around and trying different things, trying on different identities, even now, right? I mean, that's kind of entrepreneurship, right? You do the A/B testing, you try stuff, you see what works, you keep that, and you discard everything else. Like, so at some point, it makes sense to keep doing that, and then once you kind of, pick that lane, now this is who I am, right? This is what I tell people I do. So you guys are in this like max complexity, max options. It's very hard to describe to someone who you are definitively, other than a transitioning veteran seeking opportunity in this field. So don't beat yourself up about it. Understand that it might go on for a while, but it's part of the process. And the sooner you can kind of like get comfortable telling that story, the better. So,
Jack, can you hear me?
yep.
Okay. I just had a couple of odds and ends before you get started. I'll since I'm driving, you lead. So this is for Brenna, that we have a couple of companies in Greenville that we need to connect to them, see if they can sign up, be part of the welcoming committee for the vets. But I think ScanSource, New South, and ScanSource and New South for sure. And we had the ScanSource CEO on the podcast 2 days ago, and I'm sure he'd love to have more veterans come on board. But having said that, for you guys for sales, the two companies in Greenville are great sales companies. One of them is selling construction materials, and the other one is more of a managed group customers and selling a bunch of different kinds of technology, like whatever they need, printers, scanners, whatever. It's a big, strong company, but they have lots of salespeople. So check out the ScanSource and the New South websites. New South Construction. So those are my odds and ends, Jacko.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. So for reference, James Vogt was originally hired by ScanSource to run one of their sales teams right out of the military. Yes, I'll relay that, Stephen. So there's two companies in Greenville. One's called ScanSource, and ScanSource is who they're our distribution partner. So when we sell something, they're handling the back end distribution of whatever we sell. They maintain the relationship with all the vendors. They handle all the payments and everything. So they're our friends. They also do all the pre and post sales engineering. So like I had a prospect tell me they needed help setting up VPNs for their office, right? They had a server full of sensitive data. People outside the office were remoting in to that server. It was very much an unsecure process. And I said, okay, great. Understand high level business problem. I'm going to bring in a solutions engineer from ScanSource. They're going to kind of dive a little deeper into the technical weeds, figure out what actually needs to get done, and then tell us what vendor or vendors we should be talking to deliver that service. So ScanSource is great. Definitely recommend checking them out. Big publicly traded company here in Greenville. And the other one's smaller. They're called New South Construction Supply. They supply smallish contractors with whatever you need to run a job site, right? From primary building materials to like hard hats and gloves and reflective belts and stuff like that. They provide all that for construction contractors. So they also, they give you an opportunity to sell and make big commissions on what you sell. So if you're interested in tech or construction sales, those would be two good ones to check out here in town. And type this into chat. Spell construction.
And James doesn't work with ScanSource anymore?
No, not anymore. I'll let you talk to James about what happened there. There was some culture incompatibility, stuff that we are very normal for us to do in the military. He did, and he didn't like it. It was kind of silly, if you ask me, kind of the way they handled it. But he's running a sales team elsewhere.
Those sensitivities in the civilian world, I think, will be challenging. We have to watch what we say moving forward and take it a little slow first.
Yeah, and I can give you just like have you ever finished a mission, training mission or otherwise, and everyone had shared an adult beverage as a celebration?
Yes.
Something along those lines. James was celebrating with his team, and it technically violated the company's no alcohol in the office policy, even though it was like after hours, and the company brought in a cooler full of beer every Friday afternoon in the break room. So it was like, they kind of had it was just like, I think personally, there were people that didn't like the way James worked because he was so successful. Like he was the number one, their sales team was the number one sales team after, less than a year of him being there. He just got out of their way. He didn't manage people to death. He was just like, what do you guys need to do your job? All right, you don't need anything from me. I'm just going to get out of your way and let you go sell stuff. wasn't a bunch of micromanaging, a bunch of meetings. He just kind of set it and forget it, let people go do their job. I think that there was people that felt threatened by that and used this little political infraction to oust him. But you know, there's politics in the military, just like there's politics in business. So, but yeah, you and James can share a beer and talk about that story when you connect. So, so let's see. I will just, for educational purposes, I'll throw this on the shared screen right here. So this is ScanSource's website. I actually haven't been to this website in a minute, and this looks totally new, right? They've revamped it. It used to be garbage, used to be hot garbage, but you can see here, this is kind of the different buckets they offer stuff in. So cloud services, networking, physical security, POS, point of sale and barcode and payments, and communications. And so just to give you guys a little bit of background on ScanSource, because this is who we primarily know, certainly what I know mostly from the sales perspective, they are a hardware distribution company at their base, right? That's where they started. The founder worked as a manager in, I think a Radio Shack. So
Yes.
Mike Bauer was manager Radio Shack, back in the day, and kind of saw the writing on the wall that one day all of those different things that you could sell in Radio Shack were going to be one thing, right? Cell phone, right? This is literally everything